Super Beam Bruleon is coming at you with another video. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Damon Bruce. How's it going, bro?
What's going on? Look at those handy graphics to help everyone out. Welcome, Damon Bruce. I feel so very welcome. CG, good to be with you again, man. The 49ers, they've certainly welcomed fans into a fantastic start to their year, and it's good to join you again.
Oh, yeah, second time. I got to get on your show at some point.
We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen soon.
Oh, yeah. You know what? It's Niners and Cowboys week, man. We gotta get to a couple of those topics. Let's just talk about the previous game. Let's recap week 4. What's your thoughts of that Cardinals game?
Well, I've already said this, and if I repeat myself, it's because I've done a couple of post-game shows and day-after shows already. To me, the most remarkable thing about the win over Arizona was, number one, hey, let's give Arizona a little bit of credit. Like, they're better than anyone thought that they might be this year. But the fact that the 49ers can put up 35 points, CG, without Debo catching the ball all day long, and with George Kittle only having one catch for 9 yards, I mean, that just means things are this is a fully operational Death Star. If you can put 35 on people with Debo in decoy mode and Kittle hardly involved in the game plan, but for the blocking he's doing for Christian McCaffrey, who, you know, look, whenever Brock Purdy throws for about a 95% completion percentage while Christian McCaffrey's scoring 4 touchdowns, you're gonna win a lot of football games. But to me, the fact that offense worked as crisply as it did without two huge contributing factors like Debo and Kittle having their hands all over the ball, that is just a sign of a well-built team that is officially onto something.
I mean, Brock Purdy set the record for the Niners with the completion percentage in one game. So, like, 20 completions and just 21, just like one drop, man. That was all. It was just the pressure.
I try to do that in Madden. Like, when we're done talking, go ahead, put it on, like, you know, something more challenging than all pro. Like, put it up to Madden and just throw screen passes in a video game all day. Try to go 20 of 21. You won't do it. Like, it's really hard to do that in a video game, much less an actual football game. So it was a remarkable performance from a quarterback who is still very early in his career, but is off to as hard to argue with start as humanly possible. I know a few people are trying to always find things to argue with and find nits to pick, but you are really, you know, at the most granular level of criticism, trying to walk away through 4 weeks of football with something to complain about. There isn't even a large injury, knock on wood, to complain about.
Yeah, nothing. It's like the previous years we've gone through decimated injuries, but this year it's kind of been very quiet. So, I mean, like you said, Debo was a decoy because even though he did a little bit of the snaps, but this upcoming week, we're talking about this most important game. We're going with the primetime matchup. I think it's one of the best rivalries in football, if I'm being honest. I mean, the Niners and Cowboys, they all had some bragging rights. You know, they always had that history where both of them would be the winner to go to the conference championship or win the Super Bowl, like get to the Super Bowl. That's been one of the best rivalries in football.
If you're talking about the NFL's crown jewels, there's certain franchises that even though they haven't won a Super Bowl in the last, 25, 30 years, are still the crown jewels of this league. And the 49ers and the Cowboys are obviously right in the Queen's crown, right, front and center jewels. This is about as large a football game as you can put in front of a national audience in week 5. It's going to be a monster. I mean, if they want to set a ratings record, fly in Taylor Swift to start dating someone on this football team, or pretend to be dating on this football. I don't think she's really dating anybody, but boy, she adds more butts to seats than just about any living, breathing human American. So maybe fly in Tay-Tay if you want to get a Super Bowl level number, but it's going to be a huge game. It is a heavyweight fight in its primetime position all by itself for Sunday Night Football. And it should be, look, the tail of the tape is very impressive. These are two evenly matched teams. They both want to run the ball. They both play a nasty brand of defense. They both got quarterbacks who have been coached into the reality that you got to get this ball out fast because these defensive lines are coming for you. So don't have the ball when they get to you. So we've got similar offensive philosophies, similar, very good defenses. I like the Niners. They're a tough matchup for the Cowboys, but this is a good Dallas team that's coming in, and this should be a fun football game.
Well, their defense is one of the best when it comes down to it. I mean, a lot of their points have come off their defense. Their offense, it's been a little struggle in the red zone because I've been watching a lot of their games, and if you look at the statistics, it's mostly based by their defense. Do you agree or disagree on that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys right now have been scored upon the least of all teams. Now you could say, well, the New York Giants are laying down and dying for everybody. They did in week 1. They just held the Patriots to 3 points. Look, you shut a team out, you hold a team to 3 points. I don't care how good or bad their billing is. You had yourself a really good afternoon. This is we take the ball from you and score level of scary defense. I mean, Micah Parsons, Lawrence, these are guys, Vander Bosch, you got to have your eye on them at all times. They are ready to wreck shop, and they are very aggressive when they need to be. This is not going to be easy. Dallas, you might want to grade it on a little bit of a sliding scale based on who they've been able to play. I think the 49ers are, the best 4-0 in football based on how they played and who their opponents have been so far. The Dallas Cowboys are a totally legit 3-1 because, again, I got more respect for that Arizona team, and that was a Dallas squad that had some serious offensive line problems that week. They've gotten a little bit better. They're still not their fully healthy selves across that starting 5 of their offensive line, but this is what you want in a football game, man. I mean, break out the 12-ounce gloves. We got a heavyweight fight. Yeah,
we do. And, you look at how the Cowboys offense, maybe this is a get-right game for their offense to get going in the red zone because that's been the key factor. Yeah, they got a good running back. Tony Pollard's in the mix, like as far as being one of the leading backs. But
Christian we got McCaffrey. McCaffrey's 1. Pollard, I believe, is 5. And, CG, you talk about red zone execution. That's why the 49ers were so good last week. They got into the red zone 5 times. They scored 5 touchdowns last week. When you're kicking 100, when you're not kicking, when you're scoring 100% of your red zone touchdowns, you're going to be really tough to beat.
Yeah, especially our defense. I mean, if you take away the 99-yard drive, I think our defense did their part. Like you look at the previous games, we haven't given up that many points. I think 23 was probably the most we've given up all season.
People complain about consistency, and the 49ers with now 14 consecutive regular season wins, and Brock is 9-0 as a starter. I mean, that's pretty consistent to me, but that's still not good enough for some people. They want a perfect game played, all 4 quarters. Nothing ever went wrong. It's like the other team didn't even show up on the field. That's an unrealistic ask. As good as the Niners are, they're still susceptible to a 99-yard things didn't go perfectly for you drive in a football game. There's no perfect game. That's just not out there. So, bend, don't break is as good as you can really offer, and they spend an awful lot of their day not breaking, even when they do bend a little. So there's really, again, you got to be inventing things to complain about at this point in the season.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the little gray area that we can just throw out there, but I don't think it was that big of a deal. I think our defense was able to bounce back from there, and ever since then, they haven't given up points from there. So,
right. And I really like, well, Ambry Thomas, maybe he's the weak point. Maybe they're going to make a trade and get better at corner or better at defensive end. Maybe, I got to tell you, I don't think so little of Ambry Thomas that I'm willing to move on right now because cornerbacks get beat. That's what happens.
Yeah, it happens.
You give up plays in this league. It's just gonna happen. I think Ambry Thomas is pretty good. The Niners relaxed maybe a little bit, or the Cardinals hit a big play at the end of the half, and then obviously the 99-yard drive. It's the first time in a long time the 49ers have given up something like that, but they're still figuring everything out. This is not a fully functioning and formed 49er defense yet. I think they're going to be even better this week because Nick Bosa's got another game on his body barometer of getting into football shape, and Steve Wilks has got another week figuring out who works best in which spot, who's complementary. There is a new defense being installed. I saw David Lombardi bring up something I thought that was pretty interesting, Chris. The 49ers, when they transferred from Saleh to D'Amico Ryans, spent the month of October with a defense that was 20th in the NFL in DVOA. Right now, they're 7th. These are called natural growing pains.
Yep,
you can't be the experienced defense until you get a little experience going. And when you get a new defensive coordinator in, things change. So they might not have the gaudy defensive numbers that some people are asking for, but what they do have is a defense that is more buttoned up after a defensive coordinator change than it even was when we went from Saleh to D'Amico Ryans. Steve Wilks has done a really good job.
I think the one thing that stands out about Steve Wilks is those adjustments. Second half, I think if you look at the first 4 games, we've only given up 6 points after the first half. So that's how. That's a difference. Have you noticed that? Every game, the Pittsburgh Steelers halftime, they only scored 6. You look at the Giants, they only got 6 points. That was it. And then you look at I can go on, man, but the Cardinals, they only got 6 points and they failed that 2-point conversion. They failed that 2-point conversion in the third quarter.
They're good.
I think Steve Wilks can make I think one thing about Wilks is his experience, the way he coaches. He brings the best out of the DBs and everybody else.
Well, and he seems to come up with the right dialed up blitz when he's needed it. There were a couple of games where you're like, all right, this is a drive where you just want to get off the field here on third down. If you got a little razzle dazzle, Steve, throw it at him. And he has at the right time, picking your spots, knowing the moments that you want to attack when you have a defense where you can just lay back and base. You can, if you can get to the other team's quarterback with 4 down linemen, now all of a sudden you got a defensive coordinator who can get imaginative, who can get dangerous. If you can get home with 4, what you can do behind those 4 guys, it's an awful lot. And we talk about this defensive line, rightfully so. It is good, but I'm telling you, man, I thought that Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner, both of them played 2 of their best games that they've played in a Niner uniform against Arizona. They were everywhere. The 2 of them combined for 20 tackles, 10 even, 16 solo tackles combined for those guys, 8 apiece even. They were just all over the field, and they're a handful. The 49ers, look, the 49ers are not going to go undefeated. It's not going to happen.
Well, they're not.
But they're going to be a handful for every single team that they play all year. There's no doubt.
There's going to be some games where you do see one of us come with a loss. But, what else does Brock Purdy need to prove? I think he's already shown the signs that he can be a legit franchise quarterback in our offense, man.
Here's the thing. We can't predict futures. Nobody's future is assured. Anyone could get hit by a bus or a defensive end tomorrow, and it changes the equation forever. That's the way it goes. Football's a violent sport. Things can change quickly. When I talk about Brock Purdy, one of the comments I see from people is like, hey, man, slow your roll. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Well, this is the reaction that I get. Not trying to predict what he might be, but just going over what he's done. When you go over what Brock Purdy has already accomplished, when he hasn't even started a season's worth of games yet, he hasn't even reached, what is he, start number 12, 11 this week, whatever it is. This guy is off to a start that has his name being used among the best of the best, like the inner sanctum of Hall of Fame quarterbacks. He's already pushing Joe Montana and Steve Young back in the 49ers record book. I mean, that's pretty good. You can't ask for a better start than this. Where it goes, I do not know. The beginning, the launching pad of this career, it's a Disney movie.
It is.
It's incredible. I mean, if I had handed you this script, you would have read it and you'd been like, nah, no. Give me a little bit more adversity. Give me more reasons to doubt him. Like nothing ever goes this well at the beginning of a career for a guy who Mr. Irrelevant. But here they are. Here he is. And it's, just going over what he's done makes you sound like a pie in the sky optimist. And I'm not trying to be that. I'm recapping what he does. And people are like, oh, don't get too excited. How can you not be excited about this?
Even as excitement as it is, like look at how efficient the guy is, man. He's been perfecting this offense, even though it's not all perfect, but the guy hasn't thrown an interception yet. And he had almost one of his perfect games. I mean, come on. What else is there not to like?
There you go. Look, quarterbacks who we all know are some of the best that have ever played have never played quite like this.
I mean, you can't say much. I mean, this kid is just unbelievable. I mean, if I had to go far on a quarterback that Brock Purdy kind of gives me the compass, a little bit, I would say he's got a little bit of the Jeff Garcia. And people forget about Jeff Garcia. The guy's undersized, plays with a mentality, but Brock's got a long ways to go. But I think that I see a little bit of Jeff Garcia's style.
Well, Jeff Garcia is the one easy to pluck reference because you're talking about somebody who was very good and played at a Pro Bowl level, but you're not putting him on that line of Joe Montana and Steve Young. Yeah, that's rarefied air. It's hard to get that good. But yeah, I mean, how about this? Jeff Garcia was never this good at the beginning of his career.
No, because he had to go from journeyman. He had to go play like the CFL and all.
Right. Brock just got thrown into a situation that he seems to be perfectly wired to execute. Special things happen when the right player meets the right coach and they're on the same page. And that's what we're looking at here. Sometimes special has a long time to come when the right coach and the wrong player try to get on the same page. And that's what we're talking about with Trey Lance, not to pick any old scabs here, but it never worked out because Trey Lance was not ready to receive what Kyle needed him to and then go out and execute, where Brock was obviously ready to receive all of those transmissions from Kyle, understanding the game through the amount of live reps that his collegiate career bought for him that Trey Lance was unable to buy in college for a number of reasons. And you're looking at the payoff. It's an incredible payoff early on between a coach and a quarterback who are speaking the same language.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, you know what, man? Since we're going to go into this keys to the game, I mean, I feel like the matchup should be very interesting on a primetime game. This had to be on a Sunday night game. And like you said, it's a perfect situation for Brock Purdy, man. This could be the game where everybody can be silenced for this week. So keys to the game for the Niners to beat the Cowboys.
Hey, knock Tony Pollard out early. Like that's what happened in the playoffs last year. And the Cowboys didn't do much beyond the point of Tony Pollard getting knocked out of that game. Now, I'm not saying go out there and hurt Tony Pollard, but look, if they keep Tony Pollard in check, this could be a 10-point plus win for the 49ers. It should be. I mean, it really should be. Tony Pollard is the best thing that they've got offensively. And if their running game isn't working, I don't know if Dak is a good playing from behind quarterback with the pressure on him. The Cowboys, much like the 49ers, are really good at front running. When they got a lead, they can sit on it because Pollard can run with the ball. And they've got that now quick burst passing game to get, the ball in the hands of the guys that they trust. I think you keep Tony Pollard in check, you're good. And you keep the explosive plays in check. You make sure that CeeDee Lamb doesn't go bonkers on you. Like, I think you're good. You do that. How about this? We just saw the 49ers win without Debo or Kittle in the end zone. I don't think the Cowboys can expect to come in here and win without Tony Pollard or CeeDee Lamb getting in that end zone.
Nah, it's like a huge factor for them. And plus, if you force Dak to throw the ball more, he tends to make some mistakes. So
he does. But look, Dak is off to a better start than his detractors want to admit. You know, he's got the 4th best completion percentage in the NFL right now. You know, he has been more accurate than his detractors want to say he is. So, you know, Dak is good. The Cowboys are good. If they don't have a really good Tony Pollard and CeeDee Lamb, I like the Niners to win by 10 points at least.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like, you know, as far as the key facts to the game, I think as long as we Brock Purdy just keeps building that connection with Ayuk, that's going to be a mismatch. But I think just feeding McCaffrey is just going to be the huge key to beat their defense. I've seen what we can do. I mean, did you see how the Cardinals were able to, like, use those run plays? That's exactly how we use Debo. So I expect it to be exactly the way how we were able to do that to Dallas. I think Dallas is going to try to be too cute on certain plays, and we might catch on to them.
Get Ezekiel Elliott snapping the ball with no one else around. You want to talk about the Dallas's year ended
on the Patriots now. He's on the Patriots.
I know, but that was the ultimate level of too cute that we saw a panicked Dallas team try to roll out at the end of a playoff game. Yeah, cute. How about this? The team that blinks first in the too cute department probably loses this game.
Like they try to get Dallas might do something out of the ordinary. They might even do one of those little trickery plays that we don't even see coming. But
look, for Dallas to win, they got to steal a possession. They really do. They're going to have to get the turnover that the 49ers haven't really coughed up yet. They're going to have to execute the fake punt, which, by the way, helped Arizona hang around in that game last week longer than anyone expected it to. They're going to have to do something that is an unexpected possession that they now have to play with. I think they're going to have to buy that in this game somehow, some way. But by the way, you brought him up, and I don't feel like we've talked about him enough yet.
Let's talk about him right now.
We're 20 minutes into the conversation, and we haven't spent any time talking about how Christian McCaffrey is just the single baddest white boy on the planet, dude. He is unbelievable.
I mean, he's like, I mean, I don't want to sound like critical, like in a different way, but I look at him as the white Marshall Faulk, man. Vanilla. The man does everything. He's like the Roger Craig of today's NFL. This man, he's like a slot receiver.
He is one of the 5 best players that have ever played for the 49ers.
Bar none. Like, it's not even if you were to separate between him and Debo, you would not tell the difference.
Oh, he's 1,000 times better of a football player than Debo Samuel's been. I mean, come on. Like, I like Debo an awful lot. If the choice between you have one or the other, Debo is out of the room 100 times out of 100 times. And Debo's a badass, but Christian McCaffrey is a cat unlike the others. This guy is, if healthy, a first ballot Hall of Famer. This guy, if he stays healthy in his career, is going to be regarded as, like you said, Marshall Faulk, Edgerrin James, LaDainian Tomlinson, part of the story of the evolution of this position. It's Christian McCaffrey has taken the concept of a running back being able to catch the ball out of the backfield to the point where he might be one of the 10 best slot receivers in the game. That's what this guy is. You can line him up anywhere and have success with him anywhere. I've even seen him throw touchdown passes. He is. I brought this up a couple of weeks ago. He's one of those guys, CG, like I knew he was good, right? Like you watch Carolina Panther highlights.
And fantasy football-wise, he'll get you some points too.
And you knew he was good, but you don't understand a level of greatness until it's in front of you. And you're watching every game and every play and every snap and every week. And it's almost like Kevin Durant. Like, I knew that Kevin Durant was good. I knew that Kevin Durant was great. But I really didn't understand the level of greatness until he was in front of my own 2 eyes doing it with the Warriors every single night. What does Kevin Durant's off game look like? Well, he was still 25-8. You know, I mean, like on a bad night for Durant, he still had 25-8. That's not bad, right? And Christian McCaffrey is so much better on the 2nd and 7 that doesn't make the highlight reel, doesn't make the mashup of great plays of the week, but on 2nd and 7, this guy's getting you 8 yards almost every single time. The 49ers only had 5 third downs all last week against the Arizona Cardinals.
That number made it easy because he made it easy on those runs.
It's absurd, that number. Only 5 third downs. That means you are more than ahead of schedule in your chains. You must have Christian McCaffrey. I mean, he is
just an all-around weapon.
He's the best Niners offensive player since Jerry Rice. And I realize that I am leaping over Terrell Owens to get to McCaffrey. I'm comfortable doing it.
But Christian McCaffrey is a generational talent. Like, I mean, like if you're going back into like the old like throwbacks, I mean, Roger Craig was a guy. Like Roger Craig, I don't even understand why he's not even in the Hall of Fame to this day. But Christian McCaffrey,
yeah, that's the thing. To me, he's a part of the evolutionary chain of the position. You can't tell the story of how running backs play in the NFL without bringing up the chapter that was Roger Craig changing the game, being the first to 1,000. He does deserve a place in the Hall of Fame. I do think it happens for him one day. It's a shame that it hasn't happened already. Christian McCaffrey is better than Roger Craig. I mean, he is. This guy.
Okay. All right. I'll go with that. You know,
unbelievable.
When you look at Christian McCaffrey, he comes from a great NFL pedigree like his dad. And, you know, when I look at the way how Christian McCaffrey plays, I just look at a Marshall Faulk and a Cooper Kupp all in one because he can be a slot receiver.
Well, and you're talking about two guys who are just incredible open field runners. You give Christian McCaffrey space, he's gone. I mean, he'll make you miss. What I guess I really didn't understand about McCaffrey until you got to see him each and every game that he played was how physical he truly is. You look at Christian McCaffrey and you think, well, he's a really fast, speedy scat back who is going to get the ball, avoid a little contact. There's more finesse than physicality in his game. And how wrong you would be. Like, this guy's got a stiff arm for everybody in the NFL. He's going to stiff arm Kyle Shanahan by accident one day on the sideline. Just come up, just right in his face, just because. Just stiff arms at everyby. Do you like that play, Christian? No, I don't. Like, he probably stiff arms his what's her name, Olivia Copo, or his girlfriend, his fiance. He probably stiff arms her like accidentally on the way to the bathroom in the morning. Like, he just probably stiff arms the dog, and he stiff arms the mailman when he's going out and getting the mail. He's got a stiff arm for everybody. He's so physical. He runs violently. He's a violent player. When your offensive players can be described as violent, you got something.
I mean, McCaffrey, man, that stiff arm is just ridiculous. Like, great commercial idea. I would like to see that kind of stiff arm out of McCaffrey. Like, just imagine if they had like little commercial during the season or something where McCaffrey just stiff arms like everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's stiff arms for everybody. He's at the McDonald's drive-through window. He stiff arms the Big Mac.
But I get what you're saying, man. Yeah, McCaffrey is definitely a game changer. I think ever since we acquired him, we've been winning games ever since, and we've been scoring over 30 plus points a game. So it's like, you're gonna have to game plan McCaffrey, but then you have to figure out how to stop Debo and Ayuk. That's pick your poison there.
It really is. And this is what Kyle dreams about when he goes to bed at night. You know, an offense that's literally looking at a defense going, how do you want it? How would you like to get beaten today? Do you want to get beat by this guy? Because this guy can beat you all by himself. You want to get beat by that guy over there? How would you like this? What if we beat you with this guy, and that guy over there isn't even involved, or is just a decoy today? Like, how would you like to lose to this Niners offense is a real equation that they get to consider as they install a game plan each and every week. The Niners got problems on every blade of grass for you that you're trying to defend. And it's testament to how well constructed, well coached, well prepared this team has been And it's not like that just happened overnight. This has been a several year construction to a level of consistency that's rarely afforded NFL teams. And there have been people who've been complaining about a team the entire time during their second longest winning streak in the history of the franchise.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
If all you have are complaints during a 14-game winning streak, I guess my argument would be you don't really know what to complain about because things here are really good.
Nothing's perfect, actually. So you can't expect to win every blowout
Exactly.
game.
Perfect is unattainable. You'll never be perfect in a game. You'll never be perfect in a season. You'll never be perfect in a draft. You'll never be perfect in every try to be perfect over 10,000 different decisions. It's hard. It's hard. If you can get 9,000 out of 10,000 right, sure, you were wrong 1,000 times, but I am guessing that you might have been in 3 of the last 4 NFC title games. And again, the Lombardi Trophy hasn't appeared. Outside of the Lombardi Trophy not appearing, what's going wrong? That's the thing. They've done everything but grab that brass ring. And I think right now, through 4 games, you can make the argument that they're better positioned through 4 games of any season that Kyle's been here to be the team that grabs that brass ring than any other team that we've seen.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. Like, we've done everything except winning that Lombardi Trophy. But, hey, man, we're already reaching your 30-minute time limit, man. I appreciate your time. And for everybody else, tell everybody where they can find your social media platform, man, because, hey, keep up the good work.
Damon Bruce Plus. If you are not subscribing, I would sure appreciate your subscription, and I will make it worth your while. We're going to hopefully provide an awful lot of just real world analysis to what's going on. We're not going to complain about what we wanted to happen that isn't happening. We're going to be covering results that actually take place on a field. So if that's something you might be interested in, please subscribe. The podcast, I'm very proud to announce that today, Ruthless, I've gone over 100,000 downloads on the podcast. So subscribe to the podcast at Damon Bruce on Twitter. I'm still not going to call it X. Sorry, Elon. It's a terrible name. And yeah, please subscribe to Damon Bruce Plus here on YouTube. It's so good to see you again, man. I appreciate our collaborations, and we will do something soon together over on the Plus. I absolutely owe you one, man. And thanks for having me again. It's a real pleasure.
Oh, yeah, anytime. And for everybody else, thank you guys for tuning in. Hey, it was a lot of fun with Bruce, man.